Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In this video, we are going to cover the second part of the EOT Grade 11 Advanced Maths. So in the first video, we covered questions 1 to 5. So in this video, we will cover questions 6 to 10 from the multiple choice. So let's get started. We are still in the MCQ questions. Question 6, which is from Module 6, Lesson 5, Write and solve exponential growth equations and inequalities. So as you can see here, guys, this is the first question or example 1, continuous growth or exponential growth, continuous exponential growth. So before we start, I would like to remind you with the rule that we will be using in this section. The exponential growth can be modeled by the function f of x equals a times e to the power of kt. As if you remember, a here represents the initial value, e is as you know, the constant, k is the t is the time in years, k is the rate of continuous growth. This is the rate of continuous growth. When I start, if you remember, solving this type of questions, it's better to write everything on the top of it. What does it mean? For example, the population of Florida was 20.61 million in year 2016, and in 2000 it was 15.98 million. So as you can see, this question is a bit confusing because they started with the later year and they said it was in 2000 15.98, so it's a bit confusing. But as you noticed, which year comes first? Of course 2000. This means this will be our initial value, so this will be here a. So I can write it here like a equals, so we will use it more than once, so it's 15.98. This is the value of a. Now, what other information do I have in the question so I will be able to write down from the question and substitute them in the original function and see what is missing? Actually, I have something which is not mentioned directly, but I can find here t, the time in years, because he says in the question 2000 from year 2000 to 2016, so it's very obvious how many years are there difference between these two given years. Of course it's 16, so I know now t equals 16. Type. What about k? Do we have k here in the question, the constant or like the rate of continuous growth? We don't have it, so we will put like a question mark. So before you start, this is just an advice, you can write ATK and write what is given in the question, so it's very obvious that you need to find the value of k here, so you will be able to solve other questions later in parts like B and C, for example. So let's see first part A, the first question. Write an exponential growth equation that represents the given situation. So to be honest, for example, I can say that y equals a e to the power of kt. So in this case, this means why I've chosen y, because I'm using y, it's easier for writing and solving. It's instead of f of x, I can replace it with y. It doesn't make any difference. Now I will replace or substitute by all the information that I know here in this equation. So first of all, do I know the value of y? This is a very good question. Actually, I didn't write it here because this is a, t and k are the constants that I will use in every question. It doesn't have to, maybe I will have extra values like y given in the question. We will see this in a minute, but usually these are the ones you need to start with, a, t, k. Then if you have any additional information, you will add it later. For example here, what this number is going to represent. This what happens, ya shabab, after 16 years the population increases from 15.98 to 20.61. So this means y equals 20.61, because this will be the result after applying this rule. The answer will be after 16 years 20.61. Now Let's substitute all the information here. So 20.61 equals A is 15.98. Of course, E is E, power of K multiplied by T, power of K multiplied by T. So K I don't know, and T is 16. Right. What will be the second step? I want to solve all of this question to find the value of K. So if I want to find the value of K, I want to remove everything from here to the other side. So I will start with 15.98. To remove it, I will divide by 15.98 on both sides. So this will be cancelled. So we will have remaining on the other side. You don't have to solve it now, so you can still leave it at 20.61 over 15.98. On this side we will have e power of k multiplied by 16 is 16k. Okay shabab, now if I want to solve this question, and if you remember, if I want to remove the e, I don't know if you remember this or not, but we can say we can use the equality of the logarithmic equations. So if I want to remove the e, I will use len. Why is that? Just very quickly to remind you, and I will remove this later. So if I have, for example, log base 2 of 2, what is the result? You can try it with the calculator. The answer is 1. But you should remember this was a rule. Log 7 base 7, the answer is 1. So log e to the base e will be 1. However, what is log e to the base e? Yes, it is len. Len e equals 1. So what happened here is, if I'm using len e, how can I remove e if I'm using len? Imagine that. What I will do here, I will explain it for the first example, but later you will use it directly. So what I will do, I will add len to both sides. I will add len to both sides. So what happened, usually later we will say len will remove the e, so we will have remaining 16k. But if you don't know why, I can use the exponent property by putting this one down here. Sorry, Shweb. So what is remaining on the left side? We will have len 20.61 over 15.98 equals 16k len e, right? And we said len e equals, from here, len e equals 1, which means anything multiplied by 1 will be the same, so it will be cancelled. So directly from the previous point, if I have here e, I will use len for both sides, remove len with e, and write the power only, which is 16k. Now if I want k, the last step is to divide by 16 and divide everything here by 16. So you will write this as you can see it on the calculator. So 16 will be cancelled, so k will be, you will find a very long decimal, you will take like 4 decimal places, it will be 0.0159. Now we have the value of k. Type. The question here is, have we completed the question or not yet? Actually not yet. We just found the value of k. So what I need to do is to put it back in the original equation, or I know now that k is no longer a unknown, so I will remove this question mark and I will replace it now k with 0.0159. As long as I have the value of k now, I can now have an equation that can solve any question by providing you, for example, with a like the time, changing the time, and ask you to find what will be the population by this year. So what I will do now, I will write like a general equation that will help you to find the population at any coming year. So y equals, now I have a, which is 15.98 e to the power of, and instead of using the t time, no, I will use the k as a rate of the continuous growth, which is 0.0159 multiplied by t. Now this equation could be used to find the population at any time t. The only important thing here is, he will give you, like in this type of questions, he will give you two different times so you can find the difference, or he will say after, for example, 5 years, after 6 years. So t will be given for the first example, so that you will be using t to find the value of k. Then I will rewrite the equation with the same a as an initial amount, and I will keep it as t. I will not replace it with any number now, but after finding the value of k I will replace it here. So now this equation could be used to calculate the population, which is y, after any time in years t. That's it. Okay شباب, يبقى this is the solution for part A. Now for part B, let's say I will make a line here. Part B, predict when the population will reach 25 million. Predict means he's asking about time, like after how many years, right يا شباب? So he's asking about after how many years. So again, what happened here is A is 15.98, T I want to predict, so I don't know what is the value of t now in part B. K, خلاص, if you know t, k, it's fixed because we have this rule here. Now we have a new value of y, so y here equals 25 million. So I will write it in millions, like 25 millions. Now what will happen, I will use the rule that we have just found. So y equals 15.98 e to the power of 0.0159 t. But now I know the value of y, and I will use it to find after how many years, it means to find the time. So what I will write here is 25. Now how can I solve this? Again, if I want t, it will be the same procedure as what we have done with k. The only difference is the variable itself. So I will divide by 15.98 divide by 15.98. These will be cancelled, so we will have here 25 over 15.98 equals e to the power of 0.0159 t. Remember ya shab, if I want to remove the e, so I have this t down, I will use len for both sides. These will be cancelled, so I will have here remaining 0.0159 t. It will come from the power or the exponent. It will be written in the normal way as len 25 over 15.98. Sorry ya shabab. Now I need t, so I will divide by 0.0159, divide everything here by 0.0159. This will be cancelled, so you will come up with the time. So t will be approximately 28.129. Of course the time here will be given in years, so you can just write here, for example, I didn't put a unit here because this is a constant, it's not a, it doesn't have a unit. However, t here is represented in years, but actually it will be a multiple choice question, so you will not have to write the unit, just to keep this in mind. This is for part, so which means ya shabab, after 28.129, which is approximately 28 years, the population will reach 25 millions. Type a question here, he will ask you, maybe he will not ask you predict when, he may say which year. He will not ask after how many years, he will ask which year the 25 million. So what I will do, remember what was the starting year here? It was 2000. After 28 years it will be the year 2028, and this could be the choice that you will have. So it's like two ways. He will ask after how many years, it means 28, or in which year. So I will add the 28 years to the initial year here, which was 2000. Alright, here is part C, and in part C we will have a different type of questions. It's like comparing the population of two cities, like compare the population of Florida and California. So actually we need to go back, so I need this equation because this is the equation that gives me the population of Florida at any time t. So I will just bring it here, so we can say that I will move it a little bit left, so we can write here this one is for Florida, and we will have another one, it's given in the question, this is for California. It's y equals 33.9 e to the power of 0.0092 t. This one is used for California. Type how would he like to compare? Let's read the question now. California's population in 2000, which means in the same initial year, was 33.9 million, and its population growth can be modeled by, so he gave me the equation. I don't have to initiate it like what we have done with Florida. No, it's already given. Determine when Florida's population will surpass California, which means, like, I will write this in a simple way: Florida surpass California. What do you mean by surpass here? It means it will, like, the population will pass the population of California, so we will not be able to write equal here. This is wrong, so it will be greater than. So in this type of questions, we will not be solving an equation, we will be solving an inequality. That's why we said here, like, shabab, a compare. So take care with this. So when I'm now comparing two of them and solving an inequality, I don't think there will be anything different, but I will start from Florida on the left, write the correct inequality and solve it: greater than California. So what will happen? It will be 15.98 e to the power of 0.0159 t is greater than 33.9 e to the power of 0.0092 t. Now, Shab, I want to solve both of these inequalities. How can I do this? First of all, if you remember, we will add len to both sides. And remember, in this type of questions, we have here multiply, and we have here as well multiply. So if I have len or a log with a multiplication, I can split this into len 15.98 plus len e to the power of 0.0159 t greater than len 33.9 plus len e to the power of 0.0092 t. So we have used the property of the logarithms when we can split if there is a multiplication, so I can have both lens. Now, len e here, what will happen, ya shabab? If you remember, we will cancel len e and len e, so we will have len 15.98 plus, I will put the exponent, 0.0159 t greater than len 33.9 plus 0.0092 t. Actually, we can jump in the next time, like we can say from here we will write len 33.9 plus directly. If I know e to the power of something with a len, it will be removed, so I can directly write 0.0092 t, and the same thing here for if I have an e type. What I will do, I will bring the t together, so this will be subtracted on this side, and I will send this one to the other side, it will be subtracted as well. So what will happen here, I will subtract. So let me just say, I will do it in one step. I will say negative 0.0092 t. This will go to the other side, it will be minus len 15.98 on this side. So if you will do it with the calculator, you will find this will be 0.0067 t greater than, I don't have to solve this one, so it will be, I will leave it as len 33.9 minus len 15.98. Why I leave them until the end? Because this will not give you, these both of them will not give you an accurate answer, so I will not do round until the final step. The last steps to find t is to divide by 0.0067 on both sides, so divide by 0.0067. Don't forget to write this as it is on the calculator, so you will come up by the end with like t is greater than 112.25. This means t will be, it's approximately 112 years type. If he said after how many years, if you remember from the previous part, after 112 years, or we can say in which year, it will be starting from 2112, it will be 2112 in the year 2112. Okay, shabab? Let me see if there is something different so we can solve a different type of a question. This is exactly the same. Here we have a slight difference. It's still the same thing, but we have a slight difference. So that's why I want to solve this one with you. Type. So what we will do here, ya shabab, remember the rule. So I will write the rule here again. It's y equals a e to the power of k t. Right? Type. What is a representing again? The initial amount. K represents the rate of the continuous growth. T represents the time in years. Time. Now let's read the question together. Jason wants to buy a new HD television, but he thinks that if he waits, the quality of HD televisions will improve. The cost of the television is 2,500 now, which means A equals 2,500. And based on pricing trends, Jason thinks the price will increase 4% each year. Type. This is the percentage. What do you think? We said we have A, we have T, and we have K. If this is the percentage, which one this will be? Remember, ya shabab, K is the constant or the rate of the continuous growth. The rate could be written as percentage, which means K is the 4%. But it's better in our situation here because we will use it in a function. It's better to change it to decimal. If you know, it will be 0.04. If you don't know, you can just write it on the calculator, 4%, hit equal and SD to change it to a decimal form. It will be 0.04. Now, question A. Write an exponential growth equation to represent the price Y of a new HD television after T years, which means I don't know T and I don't want to know it. I just need the equation to calculate at any time, which means A and K only are needed, which is given here. So I will write Y equals, what is A? 2,500 or 2,500. E to the power of K, which is 0.04 T, and this will be the equation that will enable you to solve any question if you know what is T. So Y here representing the price after T years. So this equation will help me. For example, now I have everything. If I will give you after 2 years, you will replace T by 2 and find the price. After 10 years, replace T by 10 and find the price. And this what will, to be honest, I'm expecting a question similar to this if it's a multiple choice exam. Now, use the equation to predict. Predict here means usually he's asking about the time. When a new HD television will cost. Cost, it means this is Y. So now I will go back to the question and I will say, now I know that T is required and I have a new value of Y, which is 3,000. I will rewrite the question again, which is this. I will substitute, only thing, I will substitute this one here and solve to find T. This is what you need to do. So I will write just 3,000 equals 2,500 e to the power of 0.04 t. The first step, ya shabab, to divide by 2,500, so I can get rid of the number multiplied by the e. 2,500, you can cancel these. You have two choices. You can just either simplify them or you can leave them as they are. So it's very obvious if you can just cancel 2 zeros. Well, 2 zeros, you can do it with the calculator. Divide by 5, it's 6 over 5 anyway. So this will be 6 over 5 if you will do it with the calculator, and it's equal to e power of 0.04 t. Remember, shabab, if I want t, I want to bring it down. So I will use here, exactly, I will use len. When I will use len, it will be removed, and this will be, I will put this down. So what will happen when I will put this down? It will be len 6 over 5 equals 0.04 t. Divide by 0.04, divide everything by 0.04, it will be t approximately equals, you can use your calculator, it will be 4.6, which means about 4.6 years from now. About 4.6 years from now, the television will be at 3000, will cost 3000. Okay شباب طيب we are still in the same question, but for part C there were changes. We will have some like changes here. This is about the inequality. Jason decides to wait to buy a new television and saves his money. He puts 2,200 in a saving account with 4.7% annual interest compounded continuously. But why did he say continuously here? Do you remember يا شباب? Continuously here it means I will use E. Do you remember this? We will use E. Determine when the amount in his savings will exceed the cost of the new television. Type. Okay, now we are in front of two different equations. I need the original equation here, which is this one. I will be using it because it will give me the price of the television at any year, 2500E. Okay, let me just write it down. So we have one here, y equals 2500 e to the power of 0.04t. This equation will give me the price of the TV. This is the price of the TV after whatever the number of years is, right, at a given time. The second one is to calculate the savings. We will have another equation for savings, but we have to write it down. So it will be y equals, he puts this number, which means this is A. This is what, ya shabab, if you remember, this is percentage, so it will be K. So what I will do, it will be 2,200 e to the power of 4.7% is 0.047. 0.047 t, ya shabab. Okay, now this will be the equation I will be using to calculate what the savings type. Now what he wants to determine when the amount of his savings will exceed, it means greater than the cost. This is the cost, this is the savings. I want this to be greater than this. Now we will form the inequality. So it will be 2,200 e to the power of 0.047t greater than 2,500 e to the power of 0.04t. I want to see after, like, solve it for t to know after how many years the savings will exceed or will be more than the price or the cost of the TV, so he can buy it from the savings account. Type. What I will do here, Shab, the same as what we have done in the previous question. I will do what? Len for both sides. Then after doing len for both sides, we will split the question as long as we have here. If you remember, multiply, we will change it to len 2200 plus len e to the power of 0.047t greater than len 2500 plus len e to the power of 0.04t. And actually, if you are solving this and the steps will not be shown, you can directly, Shab, instead of writing len again, because I know len will remove the e, I can directly write the number. Like, let me show you what does it mean. So I can directly say, if I will do len for both plus len e, it will be removed, so I will have here directly 0.047t to save one step. Here it will be 0.04t. Then what I will do next, sorry, Shabab, I will bring this t together, like I will bring this t to the other side, so we will have t on one side, and I will send this one to the other side. So it's very obvious I will be subtracting 0.04 from 0.047. So the answer will be 0.007t greater than, here I will not do anything, len 2500 minus len 2200. So one more time, I will bring this one here, it will be minus 0.04t. When you subtract, it will be 0.007t. This one will go to the other side, it will be minus, but I will not do anything. Just last step, divide by 0.007, divide by 0.007. These will be cancelled, so t greater than, and you will put all of this on the calculator, you will find the answer is 18.3. So we can say his savings will surpass the cost of the TV after about 18.3 years, or in about 18.3 years. That's it. Okay, Shabab? Shabab, now we are in question 7, still in the MCQ, module 7, lesson 1, simplify rational expressions. Just let's read the question first. What is required? Simplify each expression. So this will be your first task, and state when the original expression is undefined. Ya Shabab, remember the original expression. If you remember, I've said this already before in the class, he will not say the original expression because most of you, inshallah, this will not happen. They will cancel, and after cancelling they will find the zeros after simplifying. When you find the zeros or the values of x that makes the function is undefined, you do this from the beginning, not when you finish. So let's see, first of all, what should I do? Actually, this question is a bit easier because we have a factored expression here, but the denominator is not factored. So all what you need to do is to factorize this denominator, all right? So if I will factorize it, if you remember how we do this, so I will just write this x minus 3 because this is already factored for me, so I don't have to factorize anything, which is helping you. Now this one should be factored. Actually, this is a quadratic expression, so when you will factorize it, you will come up with 2 brackets. If you remember, you can do it with the calculator, but I will do it manually. Like x and x, 12 will come from like a 3 multiplied by 4. Sorry, Shabab. It could be 2 multiplied by 6, but I need the difference to be 1, so I will use here 3 multiplied by 4, and it will be different, positive for the big number and negative for the smaller one. You can use your calculator if you remember how to do this. You will find x equals negative 4, which will be positive 4 here, and x equals 3, which will be negative 3. Now, to be honest, it's better to find the values where the function is undefined before you complete. So you can take a side here, like here we will be solving, continue simplifying. On the other side, when the function is undefined, this is a good question. When the function is undefined, it will be undefined when we will be dividing by a 0. So any function, if you remember, a over b, it will be undefined when the denominator, like when b equal 0. So we usually say b is not equal to 0 because this is the value that makes the function undefined, when the denominator is 0. Now we have here 2 factors, Yashab. As you can see, we have here 2 factors multiplied, so any of them could be 0. To find the answer is 0. So what I will do, I will take the whole denominator, like I will write here x minus 3 x plus 4, the whole denominator, and I will make it equal to 0. This will be the value that will make the function undefined when the denominator equals 0. In this case, we will have 2 choices. Either x minus 3 is 0 or x plus 4 is 0. This will lead us to, from here, it will be x equals positive 3, and here x equals negative 4, and actually these are the values you found on the calculator when you factored the denominator. So this is the answer of the second part. State when the original expression is undefined, when x equals 3 or x equals negative 4. Now let's complete simplifying. As you can see here, we have 2 similar brackets. The complete brackets are similar, so we can cancel them. So the remaining expression here will be only x multiplied by x plus 6 on the top over x plus 4, and that's it. Type. Actually, we should writing equal here. Type. What if I can see the answer that I have here in the choices? To be honest, what we need to do is to expand this. In case if it's not there, you will find x power of 2. X multiplied 6 is 6x over x plus 4. So you may find it directly, so you can choose, otherwise expand more, so you will find this one. Okay, Shabab? Here is the first question. Let's go to the second one here. I will just make a line. For this one, I can see the top expression is the one that I will need to factor here. So I will write equals, and I will make a fraction. We have on the top here y squared. It's a quadratic expression, so we will come up with 2 brackets here, y and y, 2 multiplied by 1, both are positives. I will just do this fast, I know you can do it with the calculator, so I will do it faster from now on. And we have here 2y multiplied by y minus 4 and y plus 2. So only what you need to do as a first step is to factorize this. Now I will stop for a while here and I will find the undefined values before I forget and simplify, because most of the people will then we will say it's x minus equals negative 4 only. No, it should be from the original one. So once you factorized, take the whole denominator, not part of it, which means 2y multiplied by y minus 4 multiplied by y plus 2, all of this equal to 0. When all of this equal to 0, the function will be undefined. But in this case, how many zeros do we have? Here we had, if you remember, we had 2 brackets, which means we have 2 zeros. That's why we have 2 answers here. Like if I have here 3 things multiplied, 1, 2, 3. So don't forget, we will have here 3 different zeros. Which means I will create each one. For example, the first one. So 2y equals 0, divide by 2, divide by 2. So directly y equals 0. This is the first one. We have done the first one. The second one, or we can say here, or y minus 4 equals 0. Send 4 to the other side. It will be y equals 4. This will be the second 0. And the third one, y plus 2 equals 0. So y equals, send this to the other side or change the sign. It will be negative 2, and now we got the third 0. So the function will be undefined for all of these values of y, when y equals 0 or y equals 4 or y equals negative 2. Now go back to the question and let's complete our solution. So sorry, sure. I will find if there is any common brackets here, and it's very obvious. We have y plus 2 will be cancelled with y plus 2. But we have something else we can do. These 2 brackets are different, so I will leave them the same. Now we will look at these 2 y's outside, y and y squared. Y squared, ya shabab, means y multiplied by y. So I can cancel one of them with one of this one, so I have a remaining y only. Or we can do it faster from now on. We know that we subtract the exponents, like 2 minus 1 is 1, it means a y in the top, or cancel y with the power of 2, so the remaining is y power of 1. So let's write what is remaining here in the question. So let me write this with red. So equals, I will put a fraction. So what is remaining up is only 1y multiplied by this bracket, which is y plus 1 over, the remaining here is 2 over y minus 4. Now, if you will find your answer like this, khalas, that's it. If you can't find it, or there is no bracket, it means you understand you need to expand these brackets. So it will be y times y is y squared, plus y times 1 is y, over 2 times y is 2y, minus 2 times 4 is 8, and this could be one of the choices. Now I will go to the next question and see if there is something that I need to explain, or all are similar. Actually there is. So in this question, ya shabab, this is what? Do you remember what we call this case here? Can someone remember this? We call this difference of 2 squares. If you remember, if I have just very quickly, if I have x power of 2 minus y power of 2, we had a case called difference of 2 squares. If it's both expressions or both terms around the negative sign are squared, so we can just directly factorize it. You don't need a calculator at all. You will write x and x, y squared, it will be y and y, positive and negative, correct. We put this with a different sign. Now, so let's say it means it's not factored, so I need to factorize this. So I will put equal sign and I will factorize. X power of 2 minus 9 is a difference of 2 squares, which means I will have 2 brackets like these. And actually, subhanallah, this is also a difference of 2 squares, which means I will have 2 other brackets type. In the denominator, do I have to factorize anything? No, because it's already factored and there is nothing to be done. The why I thought of this, it could be factored, because we have here x power of 2, 9 is a square number, could be split to 3 multiplied by 3 or 3 squared, z power of 2 and x power of 2, so all of these are squared. So let's do the first one. X squared will, it means x and x. 9 square rooted, it says 3 and 3. positive and negative. For the other side, x squared, so x and x again, z squared will be z and z, positive and negative. Okay, now before you simplify, don't forget, before you simplify and cancel, not to forget, we have to find the zeros of the denominator, which means 4 multiplied by x plus z multiplied by x minus 3 equals 0. This means, of course, if I have a number outside, like for example I have like 4 here, sorry يا شباب, if I have a number like a 4 here, I can just divide by 4 in both sides as long as I don't have x outside, so which will not affect anything here. It will be x plus z x minus 3 equals 0. But remember, don't do this if I have a variable like y. Okay, don't do this if I have a variable like y. We don't, if I divide by y, I will lose it. So if it's a number, I can just remove it by dividing by 4 on both sides. 0 divided by 4 is it's a 0. Now we have two options, either x plus z equals 0 or x minus 3 is 0. This will be x equals negative z, or, and this is the first answer, or x equals positive 3. This will be the second 0. So it could be undefined for both of these values. Someone will say, but we don't know the value of z. Of course we don't know the value of z, but whatever the value of z is, if x equals negative z, it will be a 0, so we can just leave it that way. Some people will think if it's a negative z, so it will not be considered the solution, and they will take this one only and say this is wrong. No, both are correct, ya shabab. Okay, so whatever the value of z is, but if for example, if x equals 2 and z equals negative 2, so it will be a 0 here. So 2 and a negative 2, it will give me a 0 multiplied by anything will make it a 0 as well. So that's why we don't consider this one. Sorry, ya shabab. Okay, so I will just remove this part. Now let us go back to our question. Now I found the zeros, so we can start simplifying now. Let's see what I can cancel here. X minus 3 will be cancelled with x minus 3. X plus z will be cancelled with x plus z. So what is remaining? Actually, I have remaining now x plus 3 multiplied by x minus z over just 4. So we have only 4 here in the denominator, and this will be the final answer. Okay, shabab? Now let's go to the actually I don't think we have a lot to do. What you will do, you will factorize this to, let me say, it's a difference of 2 squares, so x and x, 64 will be 8 and 8, positive and negative. For this one it's a quadratic equation, so you will do it. Let's do this one as well. Let me just, okay, I will just do it in case if you think it's difficult. It is not. So we have in the top here x power of 2 minus 16x plus 64, and we have here a quadratic expression as well. So if it's a quadratic expression, we will factorize it into 2 brackets, and we have here x plus 2 will not change. This will be a difference of 2 squares, so it will be 2 brackets as well, and this one will be a quadratic, so we will have 2 brackets, and let's see what will happen. All right, so for the first one here, for this one, what we will do, it will be x, and x 64 could be 8 multiplied by 8, and actually the sign, you will, if you will do this with the calculator, ya shab, you will find only one value, as x equals 8. You will find x equals 8, which means if you remember, you usually have x1 and x2, which means 2 different solutions. If you remember, Shab, when we have x equals 8, which means we will have only one bracket as x and 8, and I will make it minus 8, and this will be a repeated bracket, which means a power of 2. But actually, when I will solve it in this type of questions, I will not write it as power of 2. I will write similar brackets, and I will leave x minus 8 multiplied by x minus 8, which is the same as x minus 8 all to the power of 2. طب why is that? So when I cancel it will be easier. You will see this in a minute. Type for this one, x squared minus 64, as we said earlier, x and x, 8 and 8, positive and negative. Type for this one, to factorize it, it will be x and x. 16 could be 8 multiplied by 2, negative and positive. You still can do it with the calculator. Type. Then I will start simplifying, right? No, I have to find the zeros. Actually, if it's a multiple choice question, I can find the zeros way much faster. Like, how is that? Look at this here, shabab. I can from here directly find x equals positive 8, it means negative 8. This is the first zero. Type x minus 8, it means x equals 8. This is the second zero. We just inverse the sign. X minus 8 will be the same one, so I will not repeat it. X plus 2 will lead me to x equals negative 2, and these will be the zeros. Now, can we do this with the other questions as well? Yes, we can. Instead, let's just move a step back. I will go away from this question, then we will go back. If I have a question like this directly from here, I can say x minus 3, it means x equals 3. X plus 4, it means x equals negative 4 if it's a multiple choice, and you can see the answers are the same, so you don't have to do it in a separate step. You can just directly write them down from here. Right. How we will simplify x minus 8, x minus 8, x minus 8, x minus 8. 2 will be cancelled with x plus 2 as well, so which means, ya shabab, x plus 2 will be removed from here and there, so the only remaining thing here is x plus 8 in the denominator, so I will put 1 in the numerator. So take care, ya shabab, nothing on the top, it means I will leave 1. I can't leave a fraction like, ya shabab, including x plus 8 like this. There is no numerator, so we must put a 1, so this will be the final result. Okay, now all the questions here are similar. I can't see any question like different, except for maybe just a very quick idea for this one. As you can see, for this one, it's not written in a correct order or in standard form. So what I will do here to just rewrite this, so what I will do, I will write x power of 2 minus 5x minus 14. The numerator is correct. For the denominator, I will rewrite it. If you will rewrite this, ya shabab, in the standard form, starting from the higher power of x, it will be negative x to the power of 2 plus 3x plus 28. As you noticed, I'm just rearranging each term, and each term starts with its sign, like it's a negative x power of 2. So if I will put it first, it's still negative x power of 2. I'm not moving it to the other side of equal sign to change its sign to positive. No, I'm still rearranging. So negative x power of 2 plus 3x plus 28. Now, I will not be able to factorize it that way. So what we can do is to take the negative outside, which means I will put a negative outside. Putting a negative outside, if you remember the rule, changes every sign inside. So it will be x power of 2 minus 3x minus 28. So to put a negative outside to make this x squared positive, I will put a negative outside, and take care, shabab, if you will do it with the calculator, you will not write the correct answer. You have to do this step first before you use a calculator to factorize. If you will see a negative sign before x power of 2, first of all, put it outside and it change all the signs. So this is negative becomes a positive, positive becomes a negative, positive becomes a negative. Now, and only now, I can start factorizing. So how I will factorize this, it's a quadratic, x and x, 14, 2 multiplied by 7, different sign. I will give the negative to the bigger number, and I will leave the positive here. Now I will leave the negative outside. I can just now put this negative here beside the fraction and leave it that way. If you remember, negative in, like up, down, or in the middle, it means the same thing. Now we can factorize. So just this negative, I will move it and put it beside the fraction and ignore it for now. So yes, what will be the next step now? I will factorized x power of 2 minus 3x minus 28 as x and x. 28 comes from 7 multiplied by 4, and I will give the negative to the 7 and the positive to the 4. Now, is there anything I can cancel? As you can see, very obvious, x minus 7 and x minus 7, and here I will put equals negative and what is remaining up here is x plus 2. what is remaining here is x plus 4. Okay شباب. طيب, what will be the problem here if I didn't see this answer in the choices? What could it be? If you will put this negative up, it will change both signs. It will be negative x negative 2 over x plus 4. طيب, if I will put it down, it will be x plus 2 as it is in the numerator. I will change these. It will be negative x minus 4. So it could be any of these three answers, but inshallah I assume that this will be the answer you will see in the choices, but just in case. Okay, طيب. Just to remind you, for this one, what I will do, we have here, if you noticed, we have a common factor, x power of 2 and x power of 3. So what I will do, I will take x, if you remember, with the smaller power as a common factor, which is x power of 2. If I will take this outside, we will have remaining inside 9 minus x power of 2 taken from x power of 3. We have a remaining x. It will be 9 minus x. Type. If I will factorize this, I need to explain something here as well. It will be x and x when you factorize with the calculator. 54 comes from 6 multiply 9 negative and positive. Now, what do you notice here? We have explained this and it came earlier before in one of the exams, the paper ones. If you remember, I have here 9 minus x and here x minus 9. Can I cancel them? The answer is no, we can't. However, I can add a negative here and swap this. So what I will do, I will rewrite, and I will show you how to do this faster if it's a multiple choice. So negative, I will put a negative beside the question and I will write x power of 2. Now I can change it to x minus 9. To change this from 9 minus x to x minus 9, I can put a negative outside. Now x plus 6 and x minus 9. So now I can cancel both of these. So the answer will be negative x power of 2 over x plus 6. Type. As you notice, the shabab, here I didn't solve the values of the undefined because خلاص it's already known. I'm just solving the odd type of factorizing that you may get confused with. So that's why I'm doing this type. How to do this, as I told you very fast, if it's 9 minus x and x minus 9, you can just cancel both of them and put a negative outside. That's it. So negative x power of 2 over x plus 6. Here is the answer. All of these questions are similar. All what you need to do is to factorize. I'm sure here you will come up with something like will be swapped, so you can just cancel and put a negative outside. And that's it for question 7. Question 8, still in the MCQ, module 7, lesson 2, simplify rational expressions by adding and subtracting. Let's get started. Simplify each expression. Before we start, ya shabab, just to remind you, if I have a question like 1 over 5 plus 2 over 5, usually if you remember I ask this very simple question now, can I add these two fractions? The answer is yes, we can, because they have common denominator. If the denominators are the same, I can just put 5 here and add the numerators only 1 plus 2, so the answer will be 3 over 5. Alright, but what if it's a 1 over like 3 plus 1 over 2? Now things changing. If 3 and 2, and I cannot add because there are different denominators, we must change every denominator to become the same. And this will happen, let's see in our case here, for example, how can 3 become a 2? There is no way. So I will start by duplicating the 3, and let's say, or see a factor where both of them can be divided by, or can be divided by both, sorry. So I will multiply here 3 by 2. If I do something down, I must do it up, and on the other side I will multiply by 3, as I said, up and down. So we will come up with complete 2 new fractions. 2 multiply 1 is 2, 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, 1 times 3 is 3, 2 multiplied 3 is 6, and now they have a common denominator, so all what I will do is 6 here, 2 plus 3 in the top, it will be 5 over 6, and this is how it works. However, we will not be doing the same thing here, so let me just remove this. Sorry, yeah. Okay, now let's go back to this question here. The question again, every time you will see this, you ask yourself, can you add these two fractions together? The answer is no, because the denominators are different. And as long as these are not numbers and they are variables, so I need them to be the same. So the only way to do this is to multiply this side by y up and down, and multiply the other side by x up and down. Now you will come up with two new fractions. Their both denominators now will be xy and xy. Someone will say yx is different from xy, and what do you think, ya shabab? Xy is the same as yx, so y multiply x is xy, y multiply x is xy, so I don't have to write it as yx, it's the same thing. Now y multiplied by 3 is 3y, 5 multiplied by x is 5x. Now ask yourself the question again, can we add them now? So what do you think? If they have common denominators, as we can see now, the answer is yes, we can add them. But when we add them, what we do, we write xy in the denominator and add the numerators only, which is 3y plus 5x, and that's it. So the answer, the question is done. This is an easy question. What makes it different from this one? Actually, if you have a common factor, we will not multiply by it because it's already in common. I multiply by the only or I'm trying to change both of them to be the same. So for example, if this is r and this is r, it's already common, so I don't have to multiply by r. But for example, here's p squared. Let's see, it's still the same, b squared and b squared, so I don't have to multiply by p. The only different thing is this: we have here 4 and we have here 8. But the question is, can I change one of them to be like the other? Of course, yes. 4 can be changed to be 8 by multiplying by 2. So all what I will do in this question is multiplying this side only by 2, because I can change 4 to become an 8, so we multiply by 2. But why I didn't do something similar here? Because x will never be y and y will never be x, but 4 can be 8. So to change it to 8, I will need to multiply the 4 and everything here by 2, and if I will do something down, I will do it up, which means I will come up with two fractions, but this one will not change because I need it as it is. I don't have a problem with it at all. And this one will be 5 multiplied 2 is 10, 4 times 2 is 8, p squared r. Now, are the denominators the same? The answer is yes. So what I will do, 8p squared r, 3 plus 10 is 13. That's it. So do I need to simplify more? You can check if the numbers can be simplified more and see, but if not, خلاص, you will leave the answer as 13 over 8p squared r. Okay, shabab? Now let's have a higher level now. This is a fraction and this is a whole number. Can we add them? We still need to add fractions. So if this is a whole number, can I make it a fraction? The answer is yes. I will make it over 1. I will make it over 1. Now in this case it's two fractions, so it will be like a 2c minus 7, like 2c minus 7 over 3 plus 4 over 1. Now we have two numbers, but they are different, but it's very obvious one can be changed to any number by multiplying by this number. So if I can change 1 to become a 3, so I will multiply by 3, but I must multiply up and down. If you multiply up and down by the 3, you will come up with two fractions. Here you will have 2c minus 7 and here 3. 4 multiplied 3 is 12, and here we have a 3. Now what will happen is we will have a common denominator and I will add the numerators. So it will be 2c minus 7 plus 12. So it's a plus 12. In this case we will have one more step because I can simplify this. 2c, I don't have any other c, but I have negative 7 plus 12, which will be positive 5, and that's it. So 2c plus 5 over 3. Okay, shabab? Let's see, for this one, sorry guys, as we can see, if you remember, if I have a common thing or a common factor like p and p, I will not multiply by, I just need the odd ones. For example, here I have m squared, it's not there, so I will multiply here by m squared to make it similar. So I will multiply here by m squared, which means this one will not change. So it will be remaining 2 m squared p, and here it will be 5 multiplied by m squared is 5m squared. P multiplied by m squared is m squared p, as it is. Now, are the denominators the same? Yes, so m squared b, and I will add the numerators 2 plus 5m squared. Can I simplify this more? The answer is no, because they are unlike terms. This includes m squared, and this is only a number which is an absolute term. Like here, we can add negative 7 to 12 because both are numbers, but here we have 2c, which is an algebraic term we cannot add to a number, so we will stop here. In such a question, which is a very good one, what will happen here? We will look for the common factors first. So look, here we have 5 and here we have 5, so we will not have to change the number. But here we have y squared and here we have y, which means this one has a missing y, so I will multiply by y here up and down, but it's not the end of the story. So here we have y squared. I want to make this y squared, so I multiply by y. Here we have an extra z, it's not there, so I need to multiply here by z up and down to show z on this side. So we will multiply y on this side and we multiply by z on the other side. So now we will come up with two new fractions. Z multiply 12 is 12z, z multiply 5y squared is 5y squared z, 2 multiplied by y is 2y, 5y z multiply y, it will be y squared, so 5y squared z. And you must be sure when we are doing these changes, we are doing it so we have a common denominator or alike denominators, which is the case here, so your answer should be correct. You have 5y squared z, this is the common denominator. We write it again and we write only the numerator, so it's a 12z. Don't forget, if this is negative, it will be negative 2y. If it's a positive, it's a positive, so keep this in mind. You have 12z minus 2y over 5y squared z. Time. Very quickly, I'm trying to solve most of the questions because I know this part especially is a bit confusing for some of you. Time. Again, we have here 4 and we have here 4, so we don't have to change any of the numbers. However, we have here g, there is no g on the other side, so I will multiply by g. It means like I want to show g, so I will multiply by it. Here we have h and here we have h. Oh, that's good, but this is h squared, which means there is a missing one here, so I will multiply here by h, multiply here by h, and now I will write the two new fractions. 7 multiply h is 7h. 4gh multiply h, it means it will be h squared here, and for this one 3 multiply g is a 3g. 4h squared multiply g is 4g h squared, so I write them in the same order, so they are similar. So 4g h squared, and I will add the numerators, which is 7h plus 3g. That's it. So this is the final result here. Now let's look at a bit harder, so the questions start to become harder now. So as you can see here, we have w minus 3, but here we have an expression w squared minus 9. However, if you remember, this is something we have taken just in the previous question, which is the difference of two squares. So this is the difference of two squares. And how we solve this, if you remember, so I will need to factorize. If it's not like something, look, if it's not something like this, is there a plus and minus in the denominator? Look at these questions and the previous ones. Is there any plus and minus in denominator? The answer is no, so we just multiply. But if I have expressions like including plus and minus, we must factorize first. So in the first one, it's not factorable expression, x minus 3, so I will not factorize it, but this is a difference of two squares, as we said. So it's w and w here. 9 will be 3 and 3, positive and negative, and we have a 2 here. And I will put these in brackets so they look similar. Now I will see if there is something in common. It's very obvious that we have here x minus 3 and w minus 3 and w minus 3, which means only w plus 3 is missing from the other side. So all what I will do here is to multiply by w plus 3, w plus 3, so they will be exactly the same. Now, so we will have now two new fractions. It will be here, I will multiply 3 by this bracket. When we multiply a 3 by a bracket, we will multiply over the bracket, so it will be 3 multiply w is 3w, 3 multiply 3 is positive 9, and in the denominator I will not expand this one, sorry, I still insist it's an x, not a w, so w plus 3 multiplied by w minus 3, here the same thing, w plus 3, w minus 3, and we have a 2. Now as long as they are the same, I will write one fraction only with w plus 3, w minus 3, and I will write here 3w plus 9, don't forget minus 2, so it's a minus 2. Now I will write it again, w plus 3, w minus 3, 3w, I will write it again, but I have here plus 9 minus 2 is a positive 7, and this will be your final result. So 3w plus 7 over w plus 3. Actually, Shab, there is only one change here, which is very easy. I will just explain it once. Here is x minus 2, here is 2 minus x. Do you remember what I will do? I will just put a negative here. So what will happen? If you remember, I can swap these and put a negative before the fraction. So it will be now x minus 2, and here 3t plus 5 over x minus 2. So now they have a common denominator. I will write here x minus 2 negative 3t plus 5. This is how should the answer be. So just it could be like this in the exam, or it could be rewritten as 5 minus 3t over x minus 2, still the same thing, but just the idea here is if it's a 2 minus x, don't forget swap them and put a negative outside. Okay, Shabab? Same thing, n minus k, k minus n. What I will do, actually I can change this one and make this positive, like for example k over k minus n. I will change this so negative negative is positive, or change the sign outside and swap these, it will be k minus n. Now what will happen, it will be only k minus n, and in the top here we will have k plus k, which is a 2k. Alright, type, what if I have like z minus 4, z plus 1? Actually, Shab, from here questions will remain, I will not say difficult, but it will be longer, like it will take a longer time to solve, because none of these two denominators is factorable, which means I will multiply the whole thing here, z minus 4 on the other side and z plus 1 on the other side. That's it. So what we will do, so we will go here and multiply by z minus 4. So we will put a bracket here, z minus 4, but on the other side we will put z plus 1, z plus 1. So we will come up with the two common denominators. Now even I can do this in one step, like I will put here z plus 1, z minus 4 in the denominator, and I will multiply these and add. So I will have here 4z, I start with the term by the bracket, multiplying by the bracket, so z plus 1. Someone will write it like z plus 1 multiply by 4z. Is it wrong? Actually, there is nothing called a bracket then a number, so you should put this in a bracket as well, or start by writing, if you have a term, before the bracket, which is better, 4z multiplied by z plus 1. Here we have a positive, so it's a plus. We will have here z plus 4 and z minus 4. The problem here is we have now to expand and simplify, but usually we expand and simplify not the denominator, the numerator only. So how we will expand and simplify? Actually, the denominator will not change. Don't ever expand the denominator, we expand the numerator only. So we will multiply over this bracket, it will be 4z squared, 4z multiply z is 4z squared, 4z multiplied by 1 is a 4z. Here we have a plus, and we will be multiplying this, but as long as it's a multiplication, I will put even a different bracket here, before we multiply, or sorry, we don't need a different bracket. We can just use a bracket, whatever the bracket is. When we multiply, if you remember, multiply first by first, first by second, second by first, second by second, or you can use the FOIL method if you can do it faster. Z times Z is a Z squared. Z times -4 is a -4Z. Or actually, I will let me continue this, but I will show you a better way later. 4 times Z is plus 4Z. 4 times -4 is -16. But actually, I will never do this in the exam. Why is that? Look يا شباب. Sorry. I will leave it for now. I will show you why. Because what happened here is no one noticed, or maybe some of you, -4 will be cancelled with positive 4, so we will come up with Z squared minus 16. طب how is that? If you noticed from the beginning, before you expand, these are identically the same brackets, but only the sign is different, which means it's the opposite of the difference of two squares. We multiply two brackets similar with a different sign. We just write first multiply first, second multiply second, because the middle terms will be cancelled. So I will remove these like from here, and I will do this a bit faster now. So I will go back to this as if the same brackets are multiplied with a different sign. Multiply first by first, like first by first only, and second by second only. Z times Z, Z squared. 4 times -4 is -16. All right. Okay. Now, actually, if there is no negative outside, so now no longer need the brackets here. I will not change any sign, but if it's a negative, you must keep the bracket. But if it's a positive outside, you can just remove the bracket now. Now I can solve them together. We have the Z squared and D squared. It will be 4 plus 1 is 5Z squared, and we have plus 4Z minus 16 over Z plus 1 multiplied by Z minus 4. Okay شباب, and that's it. Sorry. Type. If I have a question like this يا شباب, again you need to factorize, so it will be n over n minus 3 plus, I have here 2n plus 2. From now on يا شباب, I will not complete the question, I will just remind you how to simplify, and if they are similar I will not explain. This is a quadratic one, so I will factorize it as n, and n, 3 comes of 3 multiplied by 1 negative and positive. You will notice that you have a common factor here, like I have here n minus 3, n minus 3, so the missing is n plus 1 on the other side. So I will multiply by n plus 1, multiply n plus 1, expand, simplify, and so on. Same thing, when you will factorize this, you will find the common factor and multiply by the other factor. Okay شباب, now a question 9, still in the MCQs, module 7, lesson 4, graph and analyze rational functions with oblique asymptotes. Alright, so before we start, let's have a very quick revision on the rational function. The rational function, we said it's given in the form of like f of x equals a of x over b of x, right? A of x over b of x, which means both a numerator and denominators are functions of x. If you remember, we can find the zeros of the numerator and we can find the zeros of the denominator, but only one of them will lead to the zero of the function. Let's like split this here. What will happen if a of x equals 0, like when we put the numerator equal 0 to make the numerator equal 0, and what will happen if we put the denominator equals 0 to make the denominator equal 0? There will be a difference here. First of all يا شباب, when a of x is 0, it means the numerator equals 0. Let me just remind you very quickly. If I have any question like 0 over 5, what is the answer? If the numerator is 0, 0 divided by 5 is 0. 0 divided by, like, let's say 17, the answer is yes, 0. So whatever the denominator is, if the numerator is 0, the answer of the function will be a 0. So imagine like this is f of x equals, and like this is of x equals. So when the function will be, the answer of the function will be 0, this will happen if and only if the numerator is 0. So Let's go back here. So when we find the zero of the numerator, we find the zeros of the function. When he say, like in question 1 here, find the zeros, it means he doesn't ask about anything. He asks about the zeros of the function. It means the zeros of the numerator. So from the numerator here, we'll make the zero of the function. Type. What will happen if we will put the denominator equal 0? Let's do the same thing here, but I will put it as 5 over 0. And this is, let's say this is f of x equals 5 over 0. When you will put this on the calculator, it will be undefined because we cannot define, we cannot divide by 0. So we say this is an undefined value. So this is undefined. But what if it's like a 17 over 0? It will be as well undefined. So which means the function cannot have a denominator of 0. So this will lead us to something else, if you remember. So from the denominator, this will be the value where the function will have exactly an asymptote. The curve of the function cannot touch this line, which with the x value that makes the denominator equal 0. So we can say from the zeros of the denominator, we will find the vertical asymptote. We will find the vertical asymptote. If you remember, how many cases to find the horizontal asymptote? Does anyone of you remember the 3 cases? To find the horizontal asymptote, we need to compare the degree of each of the numerator and the denominator. The degree is the highest power of x. Like for example, if I have x power of 5 minus 3x power of 2 plus x minus 4. What is the degree here? I will look at the maximum power of x, which is the 5th degree. So this is how we find the degree for the people who are still struggling with finding the degree. Let's imagine the degree of the numerator here is, let's say, n, and the degree of the denominator is m. And let's compare them. We have one of 3 scenarios. If the degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator, which means if n greater than m, it means there is no horizontal asymptote. I can just look at the degrees and compare them. If the degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator, I will say there is no horizontal asymptote. But you have to mention this. You will see that it's saying in the question the degree of the numerator is, for example, let's say 5. The degree of the denominator is 3. So if as 5 is greater than 3, so the function doesn't have a horizontal asymptote. This is how I write my solution. If it's in a written part, but this is a multiple choice, he will not ask you to mention this. So you just do it for yourself. Type. Okay, so this is for the first case when n is greater than m. What if n is less than, n is smaller than m? In this case, we will have one horizontal asymptote. Sorry for the handwriting. One horizontal asymptote. However, if this is the case, this horizontal asymptote will be known. It will be always y equals 0, or we can say it's the x-axis. Again, if n is greater than m, there is no horizontal asymptote. If n is smaller than m, it means the degree of the numerator is less than the degree of the denominator. It will be a horizontal asymptote, and it's known as y equals 0, which is the x-axis. And the last case is when n equals m, like they have the same degree. If they have the same degree, in this case, again, there will be a horizontal asymptote. However, it will not be y equals 0. It will be something else. As long as they have the same degree, it will be y sorry again. It will be y equals the leading coefficient of the numerator over the leading coefficient of the denominator. That's the third case type. So the most important case here is the first one. When n is greater than m, we said we will have no horizontal asymptote. In this case only, because he said here he's talking about the oblique asymptotes. If there is no horizontal asymptote, if the n is greater than m, or the degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator, we said it will be no horizontal asymptote. If there is no horizontal asymptote, some people will think we must have an oblique asymptote. No, this is not the case. We said if this is n and this is m, and n is greater than m, we may, if we don't have a horizontal asymptote, we may have an oblique asymptote. How can I check this? We find the difference between both degrees by doing n minus m. If the answer is 1, like we can say if n minus m is 1, it means it's greater than m by 1. In this case, we will have one oblique asymptote. Right? So this is how we should solve the question. Now let's go directly to the question and see how we solve it. So again, from the beginning, the question says find the zeros. So I will start with this part, then we will go to later to the asymptotes. Type. To find the zeros, we said, if you remember, find the zeros of the numerator only. What is the numerator here? The numerator here is x minus 4 all to the power of 2. I will just put x minus 4 to the power of 2 equals 0. We equate it to 0 and solve for x type. As long as this is square, what I will do to remove a square, we do square root for both sides. This is 0 here. So the square will remove the square root, so it will be x minus 4 only. Square root of 0 is 0. Now I can send 4 to the other side and change the sign. So x equals 4 is the value of x where the function is undefined. Is the value, the value that will make the function equal 0. So x equals 4 is the value of x that makes the function equal 0. If you want to check your answer, you just can put x equal 4 here in this function, find the result, the answer will be 0. Alright, just one time to check. So if I will find f of 4, but I will not solve this in the other questions, it will be 4 minus 4 to the power of 2 over 4 plus 2. Simplify. 4 minus 4 is 0. Square it, it's a 0. 4 plus 2 is 6. So the answer is 0. يبقى x equals 4 is the value that will make the function equals 0 يا شباب. Step 2 is to find the asymptotes. So actually, to find the asymptotes, it's better to start with the vertical asymptote by finding the zeros of the denominator in this case. So I will say x plus 2 equate it to 0, change this to the other side and change the sign. So x minus 2 is representing the vertical asymptote. This is the first thing. Now, how to find the horizontal asymptote, if there is any, or if not, we will check if there is an oblique asymptote, which will be the case in this type of questions. But I'm just giving you a heads up on how we should solve the question. Right, so I wrote here statements for you to know how you should think of the answer. So first of all, the degree of the numerator. What is the degree of the numerator here? If you will expand this, it will be x to the power of 2, so the degree of 2. The degree of the denominator here is, if there is no power here, it means a 1, so the answer is the degree is 1. So how can I describe this using greater, smaller, or equal? The degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator. So if it's greater than the degree of the denominator, this means, if you remember, the degree of the numerator is greater than denominator. This means there is no horizontal asymptote. So there is no horizontal asymptote. So the answer here, is there a horizontal asymptote? The answer will be no. If not, what is the difference between the degrees? What are the difference? So what I will do to find the difference? 2 minus 1, the answer is 1, so the answer is 1. The degree of the numerator minus the degree of the denominator equals 1, which means there is an oblique or a slant. Remember, we have both names works here, slant or oblique asymptote. So yes, the answer is yes, there is an oblique asymptote. The last thing is, if it's an oblique asymptote, how to find it? If you remember, we must do this with the long division. Right? To do this with the long division, we must first simplify the function. So I will put a line here. So simplify the function means f of x equals, I will expand x minus 4 all to the power of 2. How we expand this, if you remember, x power of 2 or x squared, and we do first multiply second multiply 2, it will be negative 8x. Again, first multiply second multiply 2, so 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, and we have x, and the last the second square, it will be positive 16 over x plus 2. Then I will do a long division. I will write x power of 2 minus 8x plus 16 divided by x plus 2. Remember يا شباب how to do the long division. Divide, multiply, minus, bring down, or minus we can say change the sign. Always we start with first divide by first. X squared divide by x, yes, x, and then when we multiply by both. We divide first by first only. Every time we will go down, we divide first by first, but when we go back to multiply, we multiply by both. X times x, x power of 2, x times 2 is positive 2x, and then we have done the multiplication, we do the subtraction, which means change the sign. We change the sign for both. These will be cancelled. Negative 8, negative 2 is negative 10x. Then bring down, I will bring down what is next, plus 16. Then again, first divide by first, we repeat all of these steps, the 4 steps again every time. Negative 10x divided by x is negative 10. Negative 10 multiply by both. Negative 10 times x is negative 10x. Negative 10 multiply 2 is negative 20. So change the sign, positive and positive, cancel. The answer will be 16 plus 20 is a 36. Actually, can I continue doing the division now? Now we will stop because there is no x to divide by x, so we will stop here, and even there is nothing to bring down, so we will stop the question at this part. And here is the answer. But if you write x minus 10, the answer is not correct. It must be an equation. So y equals x minus 10, the equation of the oblique asymptote. This will be the equation of the oblique asymptote. So it's x minus 10. You can find it in the choices as f of x equals x minus 10. Still correct. Okay, شباب. Now, the last step is to graph the question, and I will do something else as well here. I will just remove this. Someone asked, can we do the same thing but using a synthetic division? Yeah, for the people who can do the synthetic division, yes, we can. It will be easier for some of you, maybe for others or not. So what I will do here, 1, negative 8, and 16. And from this one, we will change the sign. So it will be x equals negative 2, or like we equate it to 0, or to be honest, it is the same equation. So I will divide by a negative 2. So if you remember how we do this, we put a line here, and then what? We will bring down here the 1, then multiply. Negative 2 times 1. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Then we add, without changing the sign, negative 8 plus negative 2 is negative 10. Then multiply negative 2 multiply negative 10 is, yes, positive 20. So the answer here it will be 36. Type. Actually, if we stop here, this means the last number here is representing the remainder, right? If it represents the remainder, I will ignore it, then this will be the answer. How can we write it? We write y equals, this will stand for x and then minus 10. Okay, شباب? And it was exactly the same answer. Y equals x minus 10. Okay. Now I will remove these from here. I just need the oblique asymptote, so I will just remove this part as well to graph. So I need the vertical and horizontal asymptotes to graph. So we have vertical asymptote x equals negative 2, right? And as well I need the oblique asymptote, which is y equals x minus 10. Then I will graph the function. If you remember, Shaibu said don't graph before drawing the asymptotes. Don't graph before drawing the asymptotes. So x equals negative 2. X equals negative 2, it means a line passing through negative 2, but when you draw the asymptotes are not a part of the graph, so we draw them as dotted lines. Why this is important, I will just explain this when we will start plotting the points. Type. The second one, y equals x minus 10. X minus 10, it means it will pass through 10 when we can say these are 8 points, so we can count by 2, so it will be negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative 10, negative 12, and here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Alright, then if I want to draw x minus 10, I will choose the method of the slope intercept form. From this equation here, the slope equals 1 and the y intercept equals negative 10, which means this graph will cross the negative 10 when we draw. It will cross the point negative 10 here. Type. Then if the slope is 1, it means I will go one step up, one step to the right, which means it will be, because we are counting here by 1, but we are counting here by 2, so 1 up, 1 to the right, it will be points like this. It will be points like this. You can either draw it you can use a table of values, and then what will happen? This will be the other asymptote. Right? This is the other asymptote, x equal x minus 10, y equals x minus 10. Type. Now, how to graph the function? Still we draw the asymptotes, but we don't have the lines here. So what you will do, Ashab, you will use your calculator to put some values, then you will start graphing. We have negative 5 and negative 27. Negative 5, let's see, negative 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5 and negative 27. It will be very far here, like so, I don't know. Negative 4 and negative 32, negative 4 and negative 32, still I cannot touch it, it's maybe even far. So negative 3 and negative 49 we can't. When it's a negative 2, it will be an error. So if you remember, Ashab, it must be an error because this is the asymptote. Let's see the other ones. Negative 1 and 25. Negative 1 and 25, still a very far distance. 0 and 8, yalla, we have some values will appear here, 0 and 8. So let me plot this with a red color so we can see it. Yeah, 0 and 8, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 3 will be in the midway between 2 and 4, 2 and 1, yalla, 2 and 1, 3 and 0.2, 3, 0.2, 4 and 0, 5 and 0.1 something, it's very close here. And oh no, yeah, so I can see we said we start from negative 5 to 5. It's very obvious here, the graph will look like a curve as long as these are asymptotes. Sorry, it will touch the x here and something, or no, sorry, it goes to this direction as long as the asymptote is moving to this direction, so it will be like this. From the other side, it must be something similar to this. If this is the asymptote, sorry, it will be something reflecting across lines. So actually you should see the graph. If I have the two lines, just no, sorry, imagine the asymptotes. If I have an asymptote like this, but I will draw it in a smaller scale, you will see the graph something is look like this. Right, this is how it looks like. Okay, now let's go to another question and see if it works. Now, actually this is typically the same. I will choose something like this one here. Now let's solve like from the beginning here and see if it's easier now or not. Alright, Shabab, now have you found the zeros? First of all, to find the zeros of the function, what we will do, we will go to the numerator and equate it to 0. So x to the 6x to the power of 2 plus 4x plus 2, I will make it equal 0. Then you can use your calculator to factorize this, or you can do it manually like what I will do now. Divide everything by 2 because there is a common factor of 2. So can I divide by 2 at the beginning? So it will be 3x to the power of 2 plus 2x plus 1 equals 0 after dividing all of the factors here by 2. We should factorize it into 2 brackets, so we know that it's a quadratic. Exactly, it's a quadratic function, so when you factorize it you will come up with 2 brackets. It will be 3x minus 1 and the other one will be x plus 1. So from this one, x equals, if you remember, no, let me, instead of writing it here, I will write it on the other side here. So it will be x equals 1 over 3. Like we swap this, move negative 1, it will be 1 over 3. Or this will be the answer you have seen on the calculator in the first place. Or x equals, change the sign, it will be negative 1. So which means we have 2 values that will make, or 2 zeros of the function. To be honest, you can go directly now to the graph and to say that the graph will touch or cross the x-axis at these 2 values. So the 2 values here, we said it's a negative 1 and positive 1 over 3, which means very close to 1 here, right? So the curve will cross these 2 lines, like it will come something similar to this, right? We will see this in a minute. Let's solve the vertical asymptotes first. The vertical asymptote comes from the denominator, so x plus 2 equals 0, x equals directly negative 2. This is the vertical asymptote at x equals negative 2, which means we will have an asymptote here. So you now know there is an asymptote at x equals, this line is x equals negative 2. That's the first step. We know there is an asymptote here. Type. And I will give you some guidance here how can we solve this easier, but just when we come to a graph this time. Now let's solve these questions. The degree of the numerator, what is the highest power of x? It's a 2, so the degree of 2. The degree of the denominator, x power of 1, here we have 1. The degree of the numerator is greater than the numerator, which means we have no horizontal asymptote, and the difference 2 minus 1 is 1, which means yes, we have an oblique asymptote. And to be honest, all of these questions, because if you remember in the question it says with oblique asymptote, so we must expect like all the questions will include an oblique asymptote, but you have to check first. Okay, shabab? Type. Then how to find the oblique asymptote? By doing a long division, but I will not do a long division from now on. I will do it as a synthetic division. It's a way much easier. So what I will do, I will write the coefficients of x only. So it will be like 6, 4 and 2. Then we divide by the 0 of the denominator, which is x equals negative 2, which we already found here as a vertical asymptote. So we will divide by negative 2. That's why I find the vertical asymptote first. Type. When we do the synthetic division, what we do, we bring this number as it is. It's a 6 written here, so we do not change it, ya shabab. All right. Then what I will do next, we will multiply negative 2. We put the first number only, then we multiply and write the result here. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. Then add 4 minus, don't change, remember in this, the synthetic division, we don't change the sign. 4 minus 12 is negative 8. Then multiply again. We multiply again by this number and put the result here. Negative 2 times negative 8 is positive 16. Add, the answer is 18. And we said the last number here is representing the remainder. It represents the remainder. Type. How I will write the answer? We write y equals, this will be the factor of x, يبقى 6x minus 8. This will be the oblique asymptote. Okay, I will just remove this part only here so we can draw. Type. Now, how to draw the oblique asymptote in this case? We know that we said, I told you I will tell you some tricks here. Usually we can count here by 1, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but all of these are negatives. And on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can count here by, like, it depends on the values you will see on the calculator. So what I mean is, I will write this now with you on the calculator, see the table of values, and what I will do is I will show you how to graph it. So if you will put this on the calculator, but we can increase the range a bit from negative 6 to positive 6. For example, here it will be, for example, negative 6 and negative 48. Negative 6 and negative 48. So it's better in this case to count here by 10. Like instead of 2, like 10, sorry, this is a negative, negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40, and we put approximate values, positive 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, negative 50. So again, we count here by ones normally, and we count up and down by tens if the numbers are very large, so I can see how the graph look like. All right, now I will go back to this one, and I want to graph the oblique asymptote. To graph it, you can use your calculator to create a table of values for this line, or you can use this. It's a negative like the slope intercept. If you remember, I told you about in the previous question, the slope here is 6. This means 6 over 1. It means every time I will go up 6 and go right 1. Like starting from negative 8, which is the y-intercept. So y-intercept means the graph will cross the y-axis at. Hey, let me choose any different color here. Like I will use the red one, no problem. So it will be like, for example, negative 8. So this line will cross the y-axis at negative 8. Then I will go every time 6 steps up and 1 to the right. So 6 steps up, it will be here, and 1 to the right, which means a point here. Then 6 steps up. We can even just do this approximately, like so. We will come up with a straight line, like we can say we will continue in this direction. And actually, to be honest, and the good other trick is this is a multiple choice, so it doesn't have to be accurate at all. You just need to choose the accurate graph, or he will ask you what is the equation of the oblique asymptote. This is what I'm expecting in the exam. One of two questions. He will ask you to say what or to mention what are the asymptotes. Choose the correct answer if there is an oblique asymptote or not, or if yes, what will be the equation of the oblique asymptote. So that's what you need to be aware of. All right. Yeah, but this is the most important part, is to find the oblique asymptote. I don't think they will never. No, I don't think they will never ask you to find or to graph, because it's a multiple choice question. All right, now let's go back to the table of values. If you want to graph it like on a draft paper, like what I do here, negative 6 and negative 48, negative 6 and negative 48, where it will be something like before 50, right here. Negative 5 and negative 44, negative 5 and negative 44, so it will be somewhere here. Then negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, was a negative 44, negative 3 and negative 41, negative 4 and negative 41, negative 4 and negative 41, something like this. Negative 3 and negative 44, negative 3 and negative 44 again, which means it will increase again. So it's very obvious that this graph will go like this. This is how you draw it, coming from this side, and it will go with the asymptote here, right? Yeah, but this is how we graph it. Let's go to the, of course, you will find negative 2 is an error because we have an asymptote. That's why you draw the asymptote to check that your answer is right. So the asymptote is here and there. Type negative 1 and 4, negative 1 and 4, it will be somewhere here. Yalla. Negative 1 and 4, 0 and 1, 0 and 1, as long as this is a 10, so 1 will be like one step of 10 here. 2 and 8.5, 2 and 8, 1 and 4, 1 and 4 again. It means it will go up again. 2 and 8, so it goes up again. 4 and 19, 3, 4 and 19, like let's directly above the 20. So anyway, you will see the graph is something will go like this between the two asymptotes, and it will go with the asymptote like this. And Yashab, anyway, later I will share with you the solutions, how it look like with the accurate graph, when I will share with you the solutions. But this is how it looks like. So all what you need to do to go to your paper, draw a draft like axes, and try to put some points, so you will see how the graph look like, so you will choose the correct graph. If this is the multiple choice, you will never be graphing a question here, or which is I am expecting like a 90%. What will happen? They will ask you, is there a horizontal asymptote? If yes, what is the equation of the horizontal asymptote? So you will need to find the oblique asymptote. If there is an oblique asymptote, you will have to find it and find its equation. That's it. Okay, Shabab, the next question. In the next question 17, you will find something different. So actually we will follow the same method and I will show you the difference now. So let's see how it works. Find the zeros. To find the zeros, like the same what we have done, we will go to the numerator, which is x to the power of 2 minus 2x minus 8. We will equate it to 0. So then we will factorize equals 0. We will put x and x. 8 is a 2 times 4, negative and positive. This means x equals, change the sign, negative 2, and x equals positive 4. Type. Actually, until here, you will see something similar to what we have done, like nothing changing. Let's see what will happen here. How to find the asymptotes? To find the vertical asymptote, what we will do, we will go to the denominator. So the denominator is x minus 4 equals 0. So it will be x equals what? 4. Now, I hope you will notice this inshallah in the exam. Did you see anything here? Look, x equals 4 and x equals 4. We have two equal values here. Like the function could be 0 when x equal 4. However, when we find the vertical asymptote, we say, the vertical asymptote represents, if you remember at the beginning of this part, we said it's where the values of the function is undefined. Undefined, or we said this represents the excluded values of the function. What do you mean by the excluded values? Sorry, Shabab. The excluded values. We said the excluded values means the values that the x cannot equal to. Like we can say x cannot be 4. Type. In this case, if x cannot be 4, I can't use this here as a 0 of the function. I can't use x as a 0 of the function. Because if I will put x equals 0, it will make the function undefined in the denominator here. So this will happen. That's why this question is different. If the value of the vertical asymptote, or where the function is undefined, will be similar to any of these zeros. So if I will move back to the previous question, I removed already the writing. So if you move back, the zeros are totally different. Like the zeros are not the same as any of the zeros of the denominator. What will happen in this case? In this case, if we have something repeated, it means I need to simplify the fraction. So this here is the extra step that we will need to do. So what will happen here is I will write f of x equals, and I will factorize both numerator and denominator if it's possible. Already we factorized the numerator here, so I know it's x plus 2 and x minus 4. And in the denominator here we have x minus 4. So what you will notice here is I can now cancel x minus 4 with x minus 4. That's why it's a repeated 0 here in the numerator and denominator, which means the final answer for f of x, or the simplest form of f of x, will no longer be this type of graph. It will be only x plus 2. If it's x plus 2, this is now representing what? If you remember, it represents a linear function. It represents a linear function. So if it represents a linear function, I don't have to do any of the vertical and horizontal asymptotes, which means in this case, I will say there is no horizontal asymptote, there is no oblique asymptote. So what I will say in this case, I will do something else. I will just, because he will ask you to graph it or to choose the correct graph as we said in the exam. If I have x plus 2, I will draw a linear function, x plus 2 on the graph, just a linear one, create a table of values, or use the slope-intercept form that we have explained earlier before. What is the slope here? The slope here equals 1, and the y-intercept equals positive 2, which means I will start the point of the y-intercept where the graph crosses the y-axis, and the slope equal 1. It means if it's a 1 over 1, it means I will go up 1 and go right 1 every time. Like from here, 1 up, 1 to the right. This is the second point. 1 up, 1 to the right, 1 up, 1 to the right, and so on, which means I will come up in this case, no, we are not graphing the asymptote as I mentioned. We are graphing a line. So let me insert a straight line here. let's see. Oh, sorry, I have to, sorry يا شباب. Let me insert a straight line so you can see it passing through this point and extending all the way to here. So as you can see, this will be the line of the graph. This will be the line of the graph. However, I will have to notice that the function will be undefined when x equals 4, which means x cannot be 4. So what I will do is I will go to 1, 2, 3, 4. I will go all the way to the graph. I can't have a point here. So what you will do, you will draw a hole on this line. So the line should be drawn like this. The line should be drawn. Of course, I'm drawing the as I said, but imagine I'm trying to draw over the other line to see how the graph look like. I will see a graph, a linear graph with a hole somewhere at the point where the function will be undefined, which is here x equals 4, will lead to the undefined function. So this is how you will see the question in the exam. So again, if in the previous questions we didn't have any similar ones, so if you will try to any similar zeros of the between the numerator and denominator, so even if you will simplify it, you will not be able to cancel any of them. However, in this part here, if there is something repeated, I have to stop, and you will simplify the fraction first. So when you simplify, you will see that it becomes a linear graph. So I will draw a linear function. The simplest form is a linear graph. Draw the linear function. However, keep in mind it will be undefined when x equals 4 for the vertical asymptote. So I will, because it's no longer a vertical asymptote and a horizontal one, and the graph will look like something similar to this, or even an oblique asymptote and the graph looks like something similar to this. No, it's a linear graph. So what I will do to exclude this value, I will put a hole in the question. Okay, شباب. Now let's solve another one and see. So let's go to question 18 and do the same thing here and see what happens. So in this question, what I will do, I will find the zeros. I will go to the numerator directly. يبقى x power of 2 plus 4x minus 12 equals 0. I will factorize because this is a quadratic function. So when you will factorize this, it will be x and x. 6 and 2, 6 multiplied 2 equals 12, positive and negative, so this will lead me to x equals negative 6, change the sign, and x equals positive 2. Alright, so this will be the zeros of the function so far until I check if there is a repetition happening here or not, or if the value of the vertical asymptote or the undefined or the excluded value is similar to any of these zeros, so I cannot use it. So we will find the vertical asymptote first. So we will start with the vertical asymptote from x minus 2. So it will be x minus 2 equals 0. So x equals 2. Now you notice I have to stop here. So this value cannot be used as a zero of the function, and to be honest, directly you can say this will be represented by a hole in the on the linear graph, because if there is something similar or repeated here. How to check or to be sure how to simplify in this case to graph? You must simplify. You must simplify f of x. How I will do this? I will write the factorable expressions, like the factorized expression here is as we have done it. We don't have to do this again. It's x plus 6 multiplied by by x minus 2 divided by x minus 2. What will happen here? X minus 2 will be cancelled by x minus 2. So the final or the simplest form of the function now is only x plus 6, which represents linear graph, so we don't have a horizontal asymptote or an oblique asymptote, right? So in this case we will have only a vertical asymptote, which will be represented by a hole on a linear graph. So let's graph the function. We said the slope here, as you can see, is equal to 1, which means 1 over 1. It means every time I will go up 1 and I will go right 1. What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept here equals 6, which means I'll start from y equals 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, here is the point, and every time you will go like one up, one to the right, which means this is going to be the straight line. So I will try to draw it. Sorry, the straight line is something like this. Okay, I will remove this part. Now what happens, we know that the function is undefined when x equal to, this will be undefined or excluded value when x equals 2. So I will go to like 1 2, I will go all the way up to the graph, but there is, imagine that يا شباب, we extend this graph. When x equals 2 you will go up, remove a part from here, you have to remove what is in the middle. I don't think I will be able to make it, and oh no, I don't, make a hole, create a hole at, as you can see here يا شباب, at x equals 2, because this is the only value that will make the function undefined in your graph, and this will be a straight line, of course, extending from both sides. Okay شباب, I hope you understand this, and now let's go to the next question. Type for now, from now on I will just speed up the process a bit. For the next question, actually some people would prefer to start factorizing first. Like for example, it's another method to solve the question. I will write here f of x, especially if it's a choosing the correct graph. So what I will do, I will factorize the numerator here, as it's a difference of two squares, if you remember, x and x. 25 is 5 and 5, positive and negative. And in the denominator we have x plus 5. It's very obvious that I will cancel x plus 5 with x plus 5. So in this case, I must write the function in the simplest form as f of x equals, the remaining part is x minus 5, but I have to mention where x cannot be the 0 of the denominator or the vertical asymptote, which is x plus 5 equals 0, so x equals negative 5. So I will say x cannot equal to negative 5 because this will be represented by a hole on the linear graph x minus 5. X minus 5 directly بقى يا شباب 1 2 3 4 negative 5 here, then the slope here is 1, which means 1 over 1. Like I will go like one step up every time, like this will be the line, okay, and x is not equal to negative 5. 1 2 3 4 5. So at negative 5 here, when this graph or the linear graph will cross this line, there will be a hole here. So don't forget to look at the graph which has a hole at negative 5, a linear graph passing through negative 5 as a y-intercept, and with x equals negative 5 you will find the hole on the graph. Okay, now another one very quickly. So what I will do, sorry يا شباب, I will write here f of x equals, I will factorize the numerator, x and x. 64 is 8 times 8, positive and negative. Then in the denominator is x minus 8. It's very obvious, x minus 8 will be removed with x minus 8. So the simplest form of the function is f of x equals x plus 8. This will be the function we will graph. However, don't forget to exclude the value in the denominator even if it's removed. Remember, if you remember in the previous part, when we simplified rational expressions, we said find the zeros of the denominator before you cancel, because otherwise you will not know this information. So x cannot be minus 8, it changed the sign, cannot be 8. So when x equals 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, I will go all the way up, like I will, it looks like I will draw an asymptote. Just imagine when it's a plus 8, you will have like a straight line, for example, and there will be a hole somewhere here. Okay شباب, so all questions remaining are the same. Now let's go to question 10. Question 10, module 7, lesson 5, recognize and solve a direct and joint variation equations. All right, so to just very quickly remind you, if y varies directly as x, what I will do, if you remember we use a proportional equality here. So what we can say, it's y over x equals y over x. if two values of y and x are given, and one will be required, or like four values are there, three will be given, one will be required. So we will use this rule most of the time. However, if it's a direct variation, I will talk about joint later, it will be 1, 2, 1, and 2. So y1 over x1 equals y2 over x2. This is the rule to be used. What if it's a joint variation? We said the joint variation, it's still a direct variation but with more than a variable. So it will be y over x, but we have another one which is like, for example, z, y over x and z, 1 and 2. It will be 1, 1, 2, 2, which means all of the first values will be like the 1, 1, 1 similar, and all the other values will be the same. If you remember, we used to swap them if they are inverse variation, but you have here in this question direct and the joint variations, so we will use these rules. Let's see how it works. So if A varies jointly as A and if A varies jointly as B and C, so I will start with A. Remember, Ashab, because if you remember, we have seen this in exams, the rule is not about y, x, and z, whatever the variables are. We see what is the first variable, we put it up, and the other variables we put them down. Like in this example, if A varies jointly as B and C, which means I will start with A up, and it varies jointly as B and C, so I will put B and C down. That's how it works. And I will do the same thing here, A, B, and C. And as if it's a joint variation, so it will be 1 and 2. They must be similar on both sides. So all are similar in each side. A1 over B1 C1 equals A2 over B2 C2. This is the rule I will use here in the question. So the remaining part is to decide what is 1 and what is 2 values that we will use here. So in the first statement, find A. So I will put here 1 when B equals 4, C equals -3. So these are the three connected values, so I will call them 1s, and the second given values will be 2s here, as you can see. Now let's apply the rule. So what I will do, just applying the rule. It's a very easy question in the exam. So A1 is not given, so what I will do, I will leave it as A1, then B1 is 4, C1 is -3, so multiply this by -3. And now I will go to the second part. A2 is -96, so -96. B2 is 3, just a substitution. C2 equals -8. So the only important part here in this type of questions is to put the numbers correctly here. Now, we have two methods to complete this. Actually, if you remember, we said if it's a proportional quantities, I will do a cross multiplication, or I can directly find the answer of A1, like A1 equals, and we make a fraction. The connected two values here, so I will ignore this one. We have two connected values, which means I will multiply all of these. 4 multiplied by -3 multiplied by -96, we write it that way, divided by this value which is connected to A1, 3 multiplied by -8. And you can do this as we said earlier, just put it as it is on the calculator and find the result. Okay يا شباب، يبقى this is the first method. Actually, if you will put this on the calculator, you will find the answer is -48. يبقى this is the first method, and if it's a multiple choice, you can just do this and the question will be correct. We'll do the same thing here. Let's start. A varies jointly. A is the first variable, which means it will be like, even يا شباب, when you solve this question, start that way. If A varies jointly as B and C, so A, it will come first for both fractions, B and C. So I will write here B and C, B and C. This is how it works. Then what I will do, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, because they are jointly varies. So find A1 when B equals 4, C equals -3. These are the first three values. The second three values are here. Then I will just substitute using this equation, or this this equation here. A1 is not given, so every time in this question he will ask about A1. B1 is 4 multiplied by -3, and A2 here is -60. B2 is -5, and C2 equals 4. Then I will do a cross multiplication. I want to find here A1. So what I will do, A1 equals, remember يا شباب, the two connected values, multiply them. So 4 multiplied by negative 3 multiply by negative 60, divide by the standalone value here, which is negative 5 multiplied by 4. Now I will use the calculator even myself to calculate this, so it will lead you to A1 equals negative 36. Sorry, same thing, the same thing. I will just try to solve the different ones. Yeah, like this one. Here's it changing in, like, even in the values and the variables. If y varies jointly as x and z, now we have y comes first. It means I will start with y here first. All right, type x and z jointly, x and z, x and z. So 1 and 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. Now, and and y equals 18. Y equals 18. It means y1, x1, z1. Find y. This is the second statement. When x is 5, z is 6. So this is how we write the ones and twos. It depends on the statements. So, and I will substitute now. Y1 is given as 18, x1 is given as 2, and z1 is 3, multiplied by 3. y2, it's not shown. Find y2. I will write here y2. When x2 is 5 multiplied by z2 is 6, like as you can see here. All right, what I will do next, if you remember, a cross multiply, or I will put these like cross multiplied ones. I need y2. So to find y2, I will look for the two connected values. These are the two connected values now, which means 18 multiply by 5 multiply by 6 divide by the one which is connected to the y2, which is 2 multiplied by 3. And to find y2 in this case, use a calculator, put it exactly as you can see it here. So the answer will be 90. Okay. Actually, to be honest, all questions are similar, nothing is different. So I think this is enough for this section. Inshallah, in the next video we will take the next group of questions. Thank you so much, and wait for the next video.